Welcome to TRISHOOL free training sessions. Today we are going to discuss about JavaScript. In the previous session, we were just introduced. We were discussing about what is JavaScript and what are the frameworks it has been released based on the JavaScript and everything. So today we are going to start working with JavaScript. I mean, basically, we're going to know a few topics about the JavaScript and practically we understand where exactly we're using this JavaScript. Let's see. Just closing everything. So now I can go to SPC. Oh, phase generation, training sessions. Yeah, excellent. I just enter here. I just get it resources. Here I'll take a notepad. As usual, I'm just trying to create I know before we entering into JavaScript, I know explaining, we might need to explain like the topics theoretically, but I don't believe in that. So that's the reason I'm getting into directly practical. So if you want to know a little bit theoretically, please go to Google and read about JavaScript and basic topics of the . But I'm going to cover almost everything in the theoretical part itself. We need of course, HTML, we need a header and we need a body. Sorry. So here is the two things. It's similar to CSS. We can write inline, we can write internal, we can write external. So which means you can write a function like onClick is equal to do something, which means this is called inline JavaScript. Just we write in CSS, we write using style tag, remember? Here we have a predefined functions we can use on click, on mouse. We will get to know all those functions anyway in the upcoming sessions. So we can write inline, and we can also write internal, which is under header. You are going to write a script tag. Type is equal to text slash JavaScript. So and open. Unlike link tag, script tag is unlike style. Style has a type is equal to text slash CSS, right? So, but script tag has type is equal to text slash JavaScript. So, if you want to link JavaScript file to the HTML file, you can use the same CSS we have used the link tag for external CSS, but here we can use directly this script tag itself. Instead, I can say source is equal to so source is equal to colon and whatever the JS slash JavaScript.js file, something like that. So this is called external. Like we write all our JavaScript file, JavaScript code in the JavaScript.js and link it to the HTML side. So three ways you can implement. So you might be having a question which way is a good way to implement. It's always external, but sometimes you might need to end up writing in the internal itself. Inline, avoid all the inline JavaScript. I suggest never write inline JavaScript because it causes a lot of controllability issues, which means you cannot control it until unless you don't have much if you don't have anything to do, you don't need to worry about writing it inline. But because see, when you want to control the event based on different stages like on focus, on click, on at this time you can trigger like one by one event using add event listeners. There are other methods that you can call these functions. So always try to use external CSS or internal CSS, not inline CSS. But if there is only one click event, you don't want to write all the things, and you can always write inline CSS. Inline CSS means basically nothing. Here, on click is equal to so and so. But anyway, if you write do something function, you need to write this function, whatever it is, inside script tag only. Again, you have to write command here and internal. So instead, we can define an ID to this, blah blah blah, and we call using this ID, we will add events to this specific tag. So we will come to know all these things in a 1 or 2 3 sessions. Uh, but I'm just giving you the difference between the inline, internal, and external JavaScript. So there is no such thing. If you go to Google, like what are the types of JavaScript? No, actually, you don't find anything. This is just an implementation. How you want to use is important. Like that's the way of implementation. So I'm trying to make understand, like you can do it in different ways, but try to follow a few standard way, like using external JavaScript, use internal only for a quick purpose, or any very less JavaScript files or something like that. So mostly you use external JavaScript. It's good, which means the JavaScript is an external file and you can write whatever you want. So you don't get to disturb the main HTML file. So even the size of the HTML file itself will come down. Yes, Srinivas, thank you. So Srinivas was telling, like, since I have not read the HTML specifications, so so you can even omit this type is equal to text slash JavaScript in HTML5 because it has specifications. In that specifications they have mentioned. Maybe you can read HTML5 specifications to know it much better. So but anyway, it doesn't harm much, but you can use it or not use it. That is fine. But you want to minimize, make it a clear code, and you can remove it if you are using HTML5. So let's getting into basic things. So first of all, I am not going to write any external JavaScript for a while. So I just want to play with JavaScript. So I am going to write it in an internal. Save free training sessions. JavaScript all. Right click, new JavaScript. Click here. My first JS.js. It is very important extension. All files. Since I'm using Notepad, so we need to save it properly. Yeah. So there are two things. First of all, before we start with JavaScript, you should know alert and console.log. So there is we use these two functions to display something. So let's say if I want to see some output, what's happening in this certain variable, or in certain array, or in certain functions, I want to display it, right? I want to see it. So there are two ways you can do that actually. Alert, let's say India is the greatest country in the world. India is one of the greatest country. So now I have Andhra Pradesh, whatever. Is a new state. So now we have two things, two functions I have written here. Let's go here, open the function. Uh, Training session, open the file, not function. Oh, my dear. So I just made a mistake. Somehow it's a sleepy head, I guess. Save as, it's not a JavaScript file, it's .html file. Go file, all files. This is HTML file, right? We have not created any external JavaScript. So since we are using now HTML file, right? Like here, open with, click from accent. As you can see, once I open the file, immediately I'm able to see the pop-up which is saying India is the greatest country. So okay, which means alert will pop up, will give pop-up. So if you want a pop-up, you can use alert. So we use mostly in when you are programming JavaScript, to display something. I want to know what's happening inside. We use alert. So even most latest frameworks also using alert, like model pop-up or something like that. So some people are using alert, which is little odd, but anyway, still they're using even advanced frameworks. So alert is basically it will pop up no matter. Let's say if you put it in alert in a for loop, it will alert 5 times until you say okay, 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 okay. You cannot access the page. So until you deal with the pop-up, you cannot access the page. So this is mostly a basic JavaScript. People use this alert to test the code, what's happening inside, blah blah blah. But always not don't use alert to test your variables or arrays or whatever it is. Always use console.log, so which won't disturb our page. We don't feel uncomfort if we have a lot of things to display. Let's say if a loop of 100 is displaying, you cannot simply click 100 times and then access the page. So it's going to be a hectic job for us. So that's the reason we don't use alert much. We will use, but not much. So I'll just remove this for the time being. Remember, there are two things. You can display it actually. These are all like, here, inspect element. As you can see, console, click on the console. Andhra Pradesh is a new state. Console.log is basically you will see it in only in the console and the page is not going to disturb. So you will see nothing in the main page. You will see only in the console. You will get this tool in every browser by pressing F12 key. Even if you open any browser, open Mozilla, Chrome, IE, anything, just press F12, you will get this inspection tool. Inside that, find out console. If you click on the console, you see the whatever I have written here inside this console. Okay. So what is the purpose of these two functions then? So these two functions, console.log is to find out, maybe you can say if you want to find out some bugs. So of course there are a lot of testing tools are available to handle errors. But anyway, for as a basic Java developers, we will know only console.log. Let's say I know only console.log. All I can do is I can test every time saying that, hey, console.log, show it what's happening in this array, what's happening in this variable. Oh, so I just want to see how many loops happening. I just want to see whether the loop is showing all the results or not, something like that. So you can literally see the variable. You can define anything, not only string here. This is string actually. If you define in quotes, you can define a variable. Let's say where a is equal to 20, something like that. So go here, fresh, you get 20. So you can define anything inside console.log. So now since you know what is console.log and alert, so let's start with the first thing in JavaScript you should know is data types. So there are the beauty of JavaScript is if you take any Java programming language, any big programming language, just like Java, .NET or something like that, you have to define what type of variable you are inserting. Let's say I'm inserting where a is equal to 20. So now in Java, in other programming language, you have to define something like this. This is integer, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to JavaScript, you don't need to define anything. It will detect automatically. If you give 20, it will detect it as a integer. Let's say var b is equal to 2.5. This is float. It will detect automatically as a float. So that's let's say var c is equal to say India. It will detect as a string. Okay, whatever the value, because it is in quotes. If you give something in double quotes or single quotes, it will detect as a string. It will understand that it is a string. But when it comes to other programming languages, it won't, because they made it very restriction, like you have to define the type of the variable. But in PHP, in JavaScript, in other scripting languages, basically, though PHP is a backend language, but it is still a scripting language. So you don't need to explain, hey, I'm going to put here integer. So what happens is there is no restrictions. You can define anything in a variable. So anyway, right now I defined three types here. One is integer, one is a float, one is a string. So like that, we can even define array. Something like this. Let's try to console.log. What happens? See, of course, we have already done that. I'll just copy the whole thing. Here, paste here, and I'll say, hey dude, display the B, display the C, and display the D. Save it, come here, refresh. So as you can see, it is displaying directly the values whatever I defined inside, and you might be wondering, like, it's just a value, whatever you are giving inside, just throwing up, right? So yes, if you can see here, this is an array. When I define an array, it is saying 0, 1, 2. So this is the index. This is the original values we have given, and this is also giving length. So that's the beauty of this, console.log. It will display everything of object. So basically, everything is an object in JavaScript. Everything is an object, no matter what, whether it is array, string, whatever it is, it's an object. So we will discuss a little more about it after, maybe you will get to know in few sessions. So it will give all the information related to, since it is an array, it is giving all the information. So let's say I want to know what type of variable inside it is. Like, so sometimes we're curious, right? Whether it is a string, whether it is a, let's say I'll give you one example. In this case scenario, I have where a is equal to 20, right? Where a1 is equal to 10. So we might think, hey, this is a number, so this is an integer. No, because since it is put, in this quotes, it has become a string. So when you go here, when you say console.log of a1, all you see is a simple number, but the console.log is displaying it is in a black color and this in a blue color. Why? Because there is a difference between that. So though it is a number, these two are different in blue color and this is in red color. See, this is a console.log thing. This is not a programming thing. So it is, it has its own, techniques to display the data. So let's say it is showing in blue color, which means it is a number. So it is, if it is showing uh, in a black, which means it is just a string. It doesn't care, like it's nothing. It's not a integer or number. It's not an integer or float or anything. It's just a string. An array, it is showing in red. Similar to that, it's show in a different ways, for a different data types. But anyway, there are not much data types in JavaScript. All you have number, very few actually, number. Uh, so float and everything comes into number only. Number, string. Let's say, let me note you. I'll tell you whatever I remember right now, but number, string, object. You might be wondering, like, you are saying everything is a object in JavaScript. How can you say object is different? Yeah, well, we'll come, when it comes to DOM structure, you need to consider everything is an object. But anyway, these are different data types. You cannot simply, array is also an object, but you cannot call it an object. You should call it an array because it acts little different. So, what do we have here? Number, string, object, array, and what else we have here? We have Boolean, which is true and false, null. What else we have? I think I'm forgetting something very important. Okay, for the time being, these are all things I can remember right now. Let's, uh, there is a function in JavaScript. Let's say I don't know, find out variable type in JavaScript. Simple. Data type in JavaScript. So this developer.mozilla.org is the best website that you will find. It is far better than W3 Schools. It gives you a lot more information. Oh, see here. Type of, yeah, I forgot. So sometimes you don't remember. Okay, let's say now we have displayed variables, right, in console.a. I'm going to say console.log of type of space a, right? And go here again, console space a1. Check here. Of course, in a it is 20, in a1 it is 10. But when I try to console.log type of a and type of a1, see what happens. Go here, my first HTML, Java. As you can see, it is simply displaying what is the type of the variable. So, hey, a is number and a1 is a string. So now you understand, right? You can see here actually, have I given anything saying that A is a number, B is an A1 is a string. I'm not saying anything. It is taking based on what you define. Let's say I've given 20, so it is taken as a number. I've given 10, but I put it in a string, so that I put it in a quotes. That's the reason it is taken as a string. And 2.5, I have given directly float, so now it is taken as a float. So maybe let's try whether it is showing it as a number or a float. Never have a doubt if it is. It might show number, might show float. No, it is showing number only. So which means it doesn't have any differences for the integer, float, or something. Everything it's considering as a number. Yeah, of course there are functions. We will discuss about it. And let's go here. And yeah, let's try array thing also. Type of D. check out. Go here, refresh the page. Now and see, it's saying object. It is not saying array. It is saying an object. So that is the reason, because it's an object basically. You will understand more about it when we talk about DOM structure. But still, it is an array. Always call this an array, not an object, because object defining is a little bit different. Let me show you. This is an object. So object is always in flower brackets, like A comma B comma C. So now let's try what happens when I try control E. Just save it. It's just showing as an object, nothing else. So now, since we know the data types, what are the data types of data types and everything? Oh, undefined is also one of the data type. Anyway, here itself they're showing a lot of data types. See here, we have a object, string, number, boolean, object, undefined. This beautiful explanation, actually. You can read it through and you will know much better. So it is also showing the compatibility. It's pretty good website actually. Mozilla developer.mozilla.org. Excellent. Let's getting into a little more. Can I do calculations in JavaScript? Yes, you can actually. Let me show you something. If you want to do any calculations, you can say there are two things. Like you can define like where a is equal to a plus b. Oh, sorry. A2 is equal to, I'm defining a different variable, a plus b. All I did is I'm adding two variables, which is a plus b, and storing in a a2. What is a here? 20. What is b here? 2.5. Let's see what happens when I try to display a2. So I'm going to remove all other consoles to avoid any confusion. So since you understand what are the data types, I'm not going to use much all this. Of course, we need a string. We need an example, right? And go here, refresh the page, and check. It is 22.5. It is adding. It is doing calculations like that. You can do all mathematical operations in JavaScript by simply using a plus b, a minus b. You mean the float thing, e dot a? Okay, okay. I'm not sure what is dot e dot a, but anyway, I'll look into it. So let's go here. Go here. Let's say where a3 is equal to a plus a1, right? Cool. Now I'm going to display console.a3. Go here, refresh. Now you can see here 2010. If you concatenate, so here, if you are using plus between two numbers, let me go here, click. If you are using, like let's say if you are adding two numbers, we call it as a mathematical operation, either plus or minus or whatever it is, a minus b or a into b or something like that. But if you do same thing with a string, right now a is a number, A1 is a string, which means we call it as a concatenation. So it will simply add 20, 10. So which means it will concat the number to the string, like 20, 10, something like that. So if you cannot do mathematical operations between a string you cannot do mathematical operation between string and a number. It will become a concatenation. It's not going to become a mathematical operation. What is concatenation? Because between it is nothing. It's just joining uh, two variables. Let's say I'll give you a fair example with the concatenation, like where double A is equal to India, where double B is equal to the rarest country, whatever. So now what happens when I say this? Go here. All I'm saying is I'll write directly console.log of AA plus BB. Here I'm using, you might be wondering, like, I'm using console dot only to show you the output, nothing else. So in a real world where we might not use console.log much. This is only to test the variables or something like that in real world when you are working with JavaScript. But so this is where you can Shubham. Okay. So console dot is just to display, just to display some output, like maybe error handling or something like that. So refresh. As you can see, India is the greatest country. But since there is no space here, I'm just add a little space before that and go here and refresh. India is the greatest country. It is displaying. So remember, I'm using console.log only to display so I mean if I want to display it in the HTML page or whatever the result, like I'm seeing AA++, so I need to write a JavaScript function and also, which you don't know, right? So that's the reason I'm just using console.log to display the output, what happens if concatenate happens, and blah blah blah. So we use console.log only for testing, not for real-time applications. Which means not for live. Let's say if you want to make it live, you need to remove all console.logs because it will look ugly when someone opens console. If you opens your website and look for console, let me go here what I'm talking, me. This is my website. Go here, inspect element, click on console. You see anything here? Yes, I see an error. This ugly. So which means this error shouldn't be there, but anyway, this we cannot help with it. Few errors. If you open even Google, you will find a lot of things. But there is no saying that the value of A is so and so, value of B is so and so. Nothing is there, right? So that is because we use console.log only for testing, not for regular usage, not for where like you might don't think that if I want to add two things, I need to use console.log. No, these operations can be done using in JavaScript only. Console.log is just to display the data in console only, not in the output even. You cannot see in the HTML page. You need to go to inspect element and check the console, then only you can see. What is console? Console will show all the operations is doing by JavaScript. So which means if I'm doing some calculations, blah, 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 and you're trying to, uh, if you're doing some error handling in JavaScript, it will throw the error inside the console so that the website won't disturb. So when you're writing any condition saying that if it is available, do this, else throw an error, so we can check in the console only, something like that. You will understand more once we get into the main JavaScript when we're writing a JavaScript. Hope you understand the first of all, number one, data types, number two, mathematical operations. I did only plus, I used only plus. You can use A star B. You will be having a curious questions, right? Okay, A star B. A star B is fine because A into B, it is just both are numbers, no matter whether it is a float or integer, but both are numbers. So now it will definitely calculate and give me the result, right? But what if I do A star A1? It's a curious question. So which means for plus you're saying concatenation. I mean integer, string will concatenate and it will display. But what if I do star with the between integer and between the number and string? Uh, Refresh. Hold on, it is displaying. Okay, it is doing calculations 200. Interesting. 8. Interesting. It is taking. It is doing calculations with the star. If we give star, it is taking calculations. Let's try to take where F4. Only plus won't work, I guess. A star into, I'll say divide. Refresh the page and oh, I have not console.log, right? That's why I can't get anything. Go here, in here, click here and here, F4, go here, refresh the page, blah blah blah, and you're getting to 0.25. So you are sorry. So you're getting the result when you click on the when you use a star slash, because it is taking as a number, I guess, and doing multiplication and division. But when you have a plus, it is always taking a string. So mostly don't give, always avoid, if you are planning to store as a number, always avoid quotes. Simple. Don't use quotes if you are planning to avoid numbers. This might be working here, but it might not work in different browsers. We're not sure. Chrome is crazy. It will do everything. So now let's talk about the comparison. So right now we discussed so many things, right? Like data types, mathematical operations, and what is console.log alert. Actually, let's talk about a comparison. Now, Boolean values. End of the result is Boolean values if you do comparison. Now see what happens. A equal to, sorry, click here. I'm removing everything since I don't need. Okay, these are all. I'm not saving this file. Okay, I'll just post it in here in a group because it's a very small thing. You can practice yourself, but since you never worked with JavaScript, it might be difficult for you to define an array or something like that. So that's the reason I've just posted in a Skype group anyway. Now, where A is equal to 20, where B is equal to 20, where C is equal to 20. So now what I'm going to do is I'll say console.log of blah blah blah. Here I'm not defining one equal to, there is, I'll say double equal to. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm just comparing with A with B. End result will be true or false, whatever it is. If it is a true, it will display true. If it is a false, it will display false. If you can see here, it is displaying in a different color compared with other data types. It's a Boolean value. So it is not a string, it is a Boolean value. It is true. Excellent. Okay, interesting. Let's see, what if I give C? So 20 equal to 20, right? Both are same actually. Now what happens is I'll get true. See, I still get true. But 20 is here number, but here 20 is a string. So we cannot, it won't, see the data type. It just see the value inside in it. Okay, inside we have what we have 20. A inside to have 20. But what if I want to define, what if I want to know, or, understand that uh, it should be number only, like it should be a specific same data type. So we have a triple equal to, so that's a bit difference between double equal to and triple equal to. Let's say we have a clones. If you see English action movies, you will find a lot of number of clones, right? So if you check them, if you scan them, do facial recognition, it will be same. So it won't, you will never see the difference. But if you do a genetic test or something like that, so basically it will definitely reveal what is what, whether it is a clone or original or something like that. So uh, if it is an I, so basically you just we're just double equal to is it just look into what is this variable and compare it. If it is same, then it will just say true. But triple equal to, it will not only look into the variable, it will also know the data type of that specific variable and compare. If the both data types are different, though values are same, then it will immediately show false. Go here, false. So the comparison is important, because when you're trying to compare number with a string, so you need to be very careful. Sometimes people might send as a string. End of the day, maybe if your condition becomes true, but inside conditions it will accept whatever the calculations or plus or minus or whatever you're doing. It will accept only number. At the time you don't get any result. But it's hardly, it's difficult to find out the error, where what's happening there. So you need to be very careful when you're comparing with. Always try to use triple equal to. Don't use double. You can, but mostly you should know which situations you can use a double and triple. But or if you always use triple, there is no issue at all. Simple. Sometimes you might need to use only double, because sometimes you might need to compare with the string itself. So it sometimes you might get that scenario also, but that's not a good practice. Yeah, you can convert string to number anytime actually. Let's say, right, console.log of type of space, what is C right now, right? Now number of C, sorry, my bad. Now what happens? Now I use number of, I use a function called number and display. First it will display what? Console.log. Go here, refresh. Oh, my bad. I think number is not a function. To convert it, there is one more function name. Convert string to number in JS. Forgot the function name. Oh yeah, so number only. I forgot it's capital N. Oh, come on. I'm forgetting things very quickly. Okay, go here, refresh. See? Ah, now here, as you can see, the first console is saying string, but second console is saying it is number, because we have converted this string to number by using number function. You might be wonder where D is equal to India. Can I convert D to number, something like that. So like D is a string, I want to convert it as a number and check what happens. It converted to number. If we want to see what inside console.log of, it is converting India to number. Check what happens when I check the output. Here it is showing the type of, is displaying only what is the type of D, but number of D, it is this, it is going to display what is the of the day. It says none, not a number. So though it is saying that after conversion saying that hey, it is a number, but when you try to display it, it's saying it's not a number. So you put it in a function D and still it is not displaying. Can we put number to a string using string? Yes, you can actually. There is a function for string also. I'm not sure whether it is a string or something. You just need to Google. You can convert number to string. Anything is possible. Yeah. So that's the comparison. So I have actually this is equal to, right? We can write reverse function also, reverse also, which means not equal to. We have one more thing called not equal to. Not equal to, which means if A is not equal to C, it will display whether it is a true or false. So it will display true because it is the reverse, right? If it is not equal to, something like that. So now I want all of you, so go to w3schools.com. I've just given you a tip of it. You need to learn a lot in JavaScript. Let's say here when you click W3 Schools, click on JavaScript. After that you will find JS data types. Go through it, you will understand much better here. Given you a basic idea what is data type, it's even define the object, how to define the object. Don't worry about this if you don't understand. It's a good topic we will discuss. And JS arithmetic operations, which is like plus, minus, increment, decrement, and we have operators. So multiplying, and we have assignments, which is equal to, plus equal to, y equal to, greater than or equal to. Assignment is different, comparison is different. So where do we have this operations variables? JS comparisons. So I want to all these topics. Let me give you a list. Comparisons are very important. Arithmetic operators. You find two things. One is arithmetic and operators. Arithmetic and operators. Both are combination. Like basically, it's nothing. It's and data types. Assignments. That's it. So this is what we discussed today, and I want you to go through it in W3 Schools today and understand more. Practice, always practice. So which means you open a file and start working with it, because you will get to know how to use JavaScript, how to use console.log, and where to test. And so you will get a lot of questions, and you will get to understand why we are using console, everything. So just go on, practice everything. Don't do it in W3 Schools testing. This W3 Schools is just to read, but do it in your own HTML file. So then you will see result, yourself. W3 Schools is, of course, it is doing the same thing, but if you do it in our own system with your own, by creating your own HTML file and JavaScript, then it will be you will understand in much better way. You will have a lot of questions to ask since it is starting. If you are a pure basic, if you don't know anything about JavaScript. If you even don't know anything about programming, you don't need to worry. You can still you can still do much better actually. So I think that's it for today's session. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Our website, we will get into it slowly because since we need to understand a little bit JavaScript before we getting into this website designing. Anyone have questions?